Hi guys, welcome back. So now we're going to do the second part of dividing fractions. So in this part, we're going to divide a unit fraction. Remember, a unit fraction again is just a fraction whose numerator is a 1. We're going to divide a unit fraction by a whole number. So we're going to divide 1/4 by 3. We're going to divide 1/5 by 2, and we're going to divide 1/2 by 3. And remember, the whole time, here's our strategy. Keep, change, and that is that you can still say switch if you want, and flip. Okay, so that's our strategy. Now, I'm going to bring you back over here for just a moment to the oranges that we did earlier. So when we started off dividing whole numbers by fractions, we started with whole objects. But of course, when we divide fractions by a whole number, we start with a piece. So we don't even have a whole. So there's no way that our answer at the end could end up as a whole number, right? Because I'm only starting off, in this case, with a 4th. I don't have anything whole here anymore. It's just a 4th. So when I cut it, I get a fraction, right? I get a fraction of what was a fraction. And so look how teeny tiny my pieces get. So when I divide 1/4 by 4, I get these itty bitty pieces. See, they're even smaller than the 4th that I started off with. Okay, so when we're going to take a look at how this works over here as we practice. Okay. So now we're going to move right back over to what we were doing over here. We're going to be using our strategy. I just want to get this angle just right. Keep, switch, flip. And we're going to go through these very quickly. Now I'm going to remind you guys that you might want to have your multiplication chart handy because this ends up being a multiplication problem. All right, so let's look at this one. So as you can see, I'm going to be working with the problem 1/4, which is shown right here, 1 out of 4 pieces, divided by 3. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to take this 1/4 and I'm going to cut it into 3 pieces. Okay, now when I do that, that means even though these other pieces aren't there, I have to count them. Okay, so now what I've done is I've cut every piece of this, but the only part that I'm going to work with is this shaded part right here. So I say, oh, if I only had a 1/4 of an orange left, like the one I had right here, okay, and I cut it into 3 pieces, what would be my part? How much would be in each of those 3 groups? Well, I'd say, okay, it would be one of these pieces. But now I don't have 4 pieces. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I get 1/12. Now let's do this with our strategy, okay? So I started off with 1/4. I keep it. I put the 3 over 1 because that's what we do when we have a whole number in fractions. I change to multiplication. Keep the 1/4, change to multiplication. And I'm going to flip my 3 over 1 to 1 over 3. That gives me 1 over 12. Notice in this case, my dividend was a fraction, so my quotient is a fraction. Remember, I said when we cut up a piece of something, we can never go back to a whole number. We don't even have a whole orange anymore, or a whole pizza, or whatever we're dividing up. So let's try 2 more problems together before I let you work on your own. So in this one, I'm going to go directly to my strategy, but I'm going to model it still. So when I look at this, I have 1/5. I have 1 piece shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could pretend that this was a birthday cake left or a pizza, anything that you want it to be. And I'm going to share it now with 2 people. So real quickly, because this is a fraction, I'm going to put it over 1. I'm sorry, that's a whole number, so I put it over 1. And now I'm going to cut my 1/5 into 2 equal pieces. But when I do that, I change the whole amount, even though it's no longer there. Now, let's see if this turns out just right. I'm going to keep my 1/5, that's our strategy. I'm going to change to multiplication because I created multiple pieces. And then I'm going to flip my 2 over 1 to 1 over 2. Multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 2 is 10. That means that if I was sharing this with someone else, my portion would be 1 out of 10 pieces. Let's see if that's right. Here is my portion. I get one of them. And now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces left. Let's try our last one. Okay, so now we'll pretend like this is a pizza. So we had a get-together or a movie night, and we ordered a pizza. And so now there's only half a pizza left. This piece is already gone. We ate it the night before. And now I'm going to have to share it with me and my 2 sisters. So that's 3 people. I know right away I'm going to change that to 3 whole. We're 3 whole people. I'm going to cut this into 3 equal pieces the best that I can, because somebody will be upset if the pieces weren't equal. Okay? Now, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just cut it into 3 pieces, even though it's gone. Now, my portion is going to be one of these. So here's my portion. Okay? It's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What would have been 6? So I get 1/6 of it. My sister gets 1/6 of it. My other sister gets 1/6 of it. And this is already gone. Let's do that with keep, change, split, flip. I keep my 1/2. That's my keeper. Change to multiplication. Flip 3 over 1 to 1 over 3. And multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. And 2 times 3 is 6. Now, you're going to go on and you're going to practice Climb the Mountain, that game where you're going to have a whole number divided by a fraction or a fraction divided by a whole number. Make sure you complete the activity because that's how I'm going to grade you. I hope you guys are super comfortable with dividing fractions by whole numbers and dividing whole numbers by fractions.